From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Stephanie Woodard. Daryl Clark is off for the evening. Our top story tonight, a Fairbanks-based runner in the Boston Marathon was two from where two explosions the race. Affected by the blast was heavily occupied at the time.
Just scary. I saw one of the pictures that was taken from where the bridge above the finish line. Just all kinds of debris in the street and empty bleachers, empty sidewalks on the other side, all kinds of emergency vehicles. Those bleachers were packed jam full of people when I ran by.
The body of the 9-year-old boy who has been identified as Sean Brown was recovered early Sunday morning. The news center spoke exclusively with the Northern Warfare Training Center about the recovery mission.
I can't tell you how emotional the whole event has been. And the fact of how badly we wanted to help this family get their son.
Throughout the entire process, the NWTC and state troopers kept the family of the young boy involved and informed.
So Mr. Brown and his three friends who came up on snow machines were out there the entire time with us. We provided them support. We incorporated them safely into the operation as we had planned, and we took care of them. When they weren't working, they sat in the sus-V and they got to watch what was going on, and they were always kept up to date. We also assisted that when we knew we would get close to finding Sean, or when we found him, that the mother, coordinated through Lieutenant Piscoya, the mother was notified from Fairbanks, and then she would drive down to our training facility at Black Rapids.
Much of the snow bridge had fallen through and was in the Moulin, preventing the recovery team from getting to the young boy's body.
We're in the hole. We're supporting Dad. We have logistics established. Everybody's helping pull snow out. We pulled approximately 30 bags of snow up over the lip, which we had to keep making adjustments to, up over the lip, and we dumped it. Somewhere in excess of 3,000 pounds of snow got pulled out of the Moulin.
At 21:30, Sean Brown's boot was felt by a probe of the two climbers, Staff Sergeant Stephen Flynn and Mr. Stephen Decker.
At 23:30, we began to remove him in a dignified manner. We roped the father into, we tied the father off, gave the father a harness. We put these guys, excuse me for a second. We tied him off, put him right up next to First Sergeant Dow as the number 2 man. We put the father right next to him tied in. So after we had packaged Sean up, we brought him up, and his father with First Sergeant brought him up out of the hole.
The Northern Warfare Training Center says this mission was much more emotional than any others they have performed.
I've done a lot of combat operations, a lot, and I've seen a lot of stuff. And on a personal note, maybe because I have 2 10-year-old sons, we're part of the Alaskan community. This is a 9-year-old boy and a father this is probably the hardest one, at least the last 7 or 8 years that I've done.
Also, according to the Northern Warfare Training Center, the boy's body was not located underneath a snow machine, rather next to it. For safety purposes of the team, the snow machine was not recovered out of the Moulin. A Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson Army military policeman will spend 16 years in jail on charges including attempted espionage. 24-year-old specialist William Millay was sentenced in Anchorage after a day-long hearing. An 8-soldier panel of officers recommended his punishment. His guilty pleas come in the wake of his admission that he tried to give information to an FBI agent posing as a member of a Russian intelligence organization in exchange for money and a disposable cell phone. Okay, well, it was a little bit cloudy out there today. I was hoping for some more sunshine, but Mike Schultz joins us for our first look at weather. So, Mike, tell me all about it.
Well, you're right, Steady. It was a little cloudy today. We were also looking at a few flakes of snow once in a while moving through the area. That's going to be the pattern again for tomorrow. But after that, things look a lot better. In fact, temperatures will be in the low 40s this weekend. Speaking of temperatures right now around the area, we're looking at pretty consistent temperatures. Everywhere you look, 27 degrees, a pretty good number, a little cooler around Delta Junction, and then pretty consistent once again around Nenana and Denali Park, 28 degrees. It's not so bad here. It's really bad in the lower 48, especially around Denver. They're looking for more snow, about 7 inches of it. We'll tell you about all that and all the weather in general when we come back later on. Stephanie?
Thank you, Mike. When we come back, Family-Friendly Workplace Award winners are announced. And an Alaska native tells about what smoking has done to him. That's our health report. Those stories are next. Stay with us.
This edition of the Fairbanks Evening News is brought to you by Spadard Builder Supply, Denali State Bank, your community bank, and by Napa Alaska Stores, Napa Know-How.
Welcome back to the Fairbanks Evening News. The manager of one of Alaska's favorite guessing games is predicting a late breakup. Nenana Ice Classic manager Sherry Fornes says the ice measured 50.3 inches on Monday. That, combined with cold weather this month, is leading her to speculate on a late breakup. Now, as many know, people from across the state pay $2.50 to guess and predict when the ice goes out on the Tanana River. The amount of this year's jackpot is expected to be a little smaller than last year's record payout of $350,000. That jackpot was won by longtime Fairbanks resident Tom Waters. The amount of this year's jackpot will be announced on April 26th. The Family Friendly Workplace Awards is the borough's and Early Childhood Commission's way of saying thank you to the employers of Fairbanks. Today, 6 more businesses were awarded certificates recognizing them for their efforts at providing assistance to their employees in balancing work and their family life. Those receiving awards included Kohler, Schmidt, and Hutchison, Northern Alaska Environmental Center, Thrive Alaska, UAF Developmental Office, UAF School of Education, and Warbelow's Air Ventures.
It's important to be family friendly because, well, family is very important, and it's difficult when employees are trying to balance work and life and find that difficult. They're not as good employees. They might miss a lot of work, they might seek different employment, and they don't feel as loyal to their employers.
The Morris Thompson Cultural and Visitor Center was built in 2009 to inspire residents and visitors to get out and explore the interior and Arctic Alaska. Today at the weekly Chamber Luncheon, the final funds to cover the $29.3 million price tag for the construction of the center were covered. Pogo Mine and Kinross Mine together combined to give checks to the Morris Thompson Center of $87,000. The money received today will be applied towards constructing a topographical map of Alaska that will greet visitors when they walk into the center.
The gift we received today from Kinross and Pogo is a fulfillment of a pledge that they made last summer when they started the mining match. We needed just $175,000 to complete the campaign, and they said, if you can raise half, we'll match the final and help you reach your $175,000 goal to complete the campaign.
An Alaskan native and former smoker is part of a national anti-smoking campaign by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. News Center 11's Daryl Clark has more in this week's health report.
Michael George Patterson can't imagine a time when he didn't have a cigarette in his hand.
Well, I was 9 years old when I started. There were a couple of different reasons. One was, you know, a lot of us do things for peer pressure because we want to identify with one group or another. Also, I left home when I was 9 years old. You know, when you're that young, I mean, I was grasping at independence, basically, and trying to feel more grown up, and it seemed like that's what grown-ups did.
Despite smoking at such an early age as 9, Patterson did manage to quit briefly as he served in the U.S. Army.
The habit consumed me so hard that I was taking cigarette butts out of ashtrays and stuff, I mean, and rolling my own tobacco from that, and the insanity of it. I wasn't looking at that as, an addictive behavior or, that I might have a real problem. I looked at that was I was being smart.
The years of smoking, at times as much as 2.5 packs a day, did its damage to Patterson, who eventually contracted chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Patterson sharply recalls the day that changed his life.
I was suffocating to death, and I could feel every cell in my body just screaming for oxygen, and the terror and the horror of all of that is just building. I mean, suffocation is a terrifying thing. Unless the person experiences, they have no idea, just how extreme that level of terror is.
Patterson was selected as one of 8 people by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for their latest anti-smoking campaign. Patterson hopes his story can lead to change for all smokers, but especially for Alaska Natives and American Indians.
Look at people, and I can't help but thinking, if you only knew what's in front of you, you would stop now, before it's too late.
The Health Report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building. Call 456-7768.
All right, News Center 11's Daryl Clark will have more on Patterson and the topic of smoking next month in a special 2-part series. As for now, Joe Cook, tell us about some sports.
Oh, yeah, man. We're talking about the conclusion of the Martin Luther King Jr. basketball tournament. That's about giving back. And we also have news from up on the hill about new additions to one of the athletic programs. Find out who the new Nanics are coming up after this. Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening. Hope everything is well with you and yours. And now let's get to your local sports. The championship games at the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Hoops for Scholars basketball tournament wrapped up Sunday over at Lathrop High School. In the women's bracket, Heather's Best repeated as champions, narrowly edging out the high school All-Stars. And in the men's championship game, the FAM, a team comprised of Anchorage and Fairbanks players, went up against the team of Black Rose. The game went into double overtime, but the FAM defeated Black Rose of Fairbanks 59-54 to win this year's MLK tournament. 10 men's teams and 4 women's teams competed this past weekend. Teams from across the state matched up mostly for the fun and love of the game. Money raised in this tournament is going back into the community in the form of a scholarship for a graduating senior.
And I just love this tournament, actually, because I love playing at Lathrop. Like, I haven't played here since, my senior year. That was an emotional time for me, and then after that, I was like, am I ever going to play here again? And then that's why I love this tournament, because it's always at Lathrop, and I love this court.
It's very important for us to support these young people out here, man. Try to get them to where they need to be. It used to be us, man. Yes, sir. It used to be us. Now I'm watching all these young ladies and young men out here, and they're doing their thing, and we want to support them as much as we can to keep this event going, man.
And a Lathrop shooter is one of the top riflers in the nation after her performance. Lathrop's Casey Barnes finished in the top 35 in the women's division of the Junior Olympics. Just this past week, Barnes scored 767 points over 2 days, which placed her 34th in her first Junior Olympics appearance. Lathrop teammates Connor Gillum and JT Schneering will have their chance to shoot and place this week, today and tomorrow in Colorado Springs at the Olympic Training Center. And with the weather a bit unpredictable, the interior track and field teams are making the best of the track season. This past weekend, area teams were in Anchorage again, this time in the Pro Wit Indoor Championships in the Dome. The West Valley girls team finished in third with 60 points. Wasilla won the girls' meet, totaling 71 points, and Eagle River was second with 66. On the boys' side, the Malamutes tied with Bartlett for 4th place. Diamond won with 75 points, followed by Kodiak. West Valley finished in 9th, and Allison came in 13th. For individual honors, Lathrop's Tevin Gladden led interior athletes with another high jump win, clearing 6 feet 2 inches. Gladden also was 4th in the long jump. For the Allison Ravens, Tony Griffith placed 2nd in the 100-meter dash, finishing in 11.58 seconds. West Valley's Megan Drange tied for 1st with a 5-foot jump. Lodge Ashmore of West Valley was 2nd in the 100 meters and 13.25 seconds. The West Valley boys and girls took 2nd in the 4x100 relays. The Lathrop boys were 3rd in that event. For complete meet results, just head to the sports page on webcenter11.com. And now, weather permitting, the first outdoor meet of the season will take place at West Valley High School, scheduled for this Friday and Saturday. And it may be the off-season for Nanook sports, but there's still activity going on throughout the programs in the way of recruiting. The Nanook cross-country team has announced 4 signees to the program. Dorothy O'Donnell, West Valley product, will don the blue and gold, but joining her will be Madeline Pfeiffer of New Hampshire, Kaylee Stryker from Middle Lothian, Virginia, and Hannah Stevens out of Eagle River, Alaska. Pfeiffer will bring the hardware with 5 Nordic New Hampshire state titles, 4 conference skiing championships, and 2 conference running champion titles. Stryker has a strong long-distance track and field background and all-state selection, and finished 3rd in the state just this past fall. Stevens brings some toughness, and injuries sidelined her earlier in the year, but Stevens came back and finished 9th in the state after placing 3rd in the Region 4 championships. The 4 recruits will bolster a good mix of Nanooks with a handful of sophomores and 3 seniors, Rafaela Sieber, Heidi O'Connor-Brooke, and Allison McFeeters. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. For more KTVF sports, go to Twitter, YouTube, webcenter11.com, or you can get our mobile app. Stay cool, Alaska. Mike Schultz has your full weather forecast coming up next, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, taking a look at weather and starting off with a great photo. This one sent in by Henry Halverson, our first bald eagle of the spring. And what a beautiful shot. How majestic looking is that bird. Again, thank you to Henry for sending that in. If you have any photos, send in, by all means, send to me at Mike Schultz at KTVF11.com. Here's your numbers. Right now, 27 degrees at the airport. That's our high for the day. The overnight low is 1 degree. Record high 61, 2012, 12 below in 1914. And your sunrise this morning was at 6:12. The sun will set this evening 9:34, giving us about 15 hours and 22 minutes of daylight, a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. Here's our satellite picture for today. You can see the clouds hanging around the Fairbanks area, but you can also notice the movement is slowly to the east as high pressure is expected to build in and give us a lot of warm air in from the Gulf of Alaska. We're looking forward to that. What's going on across the rest of the state right now? Looks like some rain falling around the Juneau area and right on down to Ketchikan. Cloudy skies there. 49 degrees. That's encouraging. Some showers around Cold Bay. 39 there. Across the Anchorage Bowl, 37 degrees. Up in the North Slope, 3 degrees at Barrow. And Fort Yukon at 27 degrees. Lower 48 weather tonight. Quite a bit to talk about. First of all, it is raining over the Pacific Northwest. Storms moving across North Texas and more snow falling around the Minneapolis area, stretching all the way back to the Denver area. Why? Well, look at the satellite picture. You can get an idea. Storm system really developing rapidly across the Rockies. They expect to move out in the plains and bring with it more severe weather. A lot of snow expected with this system, too. As you can see here on the map, you can see where the big heavy snowfall is expected right around north of Cheyenne, right on down to the Denver area. Almost 1.5 feet of snow. They just can't seem to get rid of winter. Why? Because the jet stream, once again, is still moving from the northwest down across to the south and helping to pull in that colder air from Canada, and also mixing and bringing a lot of rain across the Great Lakes and more severe weather expected across the Central Plains. So it's going to be a wild week for the rest of the lower 48. But back in Alaska for the northern sections tomorrow, partly cloudy skies in Barrow, sunny skies in Nome, and scattered clouds at Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at isolated snow flurries for both Fairbanks and Healy, while the rain continues to fall across southeast Alaska. Occasional rain for Juneau, but very rainy actually occasional rain in Ketchikan and rainy in Juneau. Out to the southwest, cloudy skies with rain in Cold Bay, scattered clouds in Kodiak, and sunny skies in Bethel. And over the south central regions, looks like scattered clouds at Anchorage and Valdez, and mostly sunny skies in Homer. Well, once again, time for our kids' weather, and this week we're talking with the kids from the Barnett Magnet School. And tonight, a young lady with a picture to share with you.
I'm going to show you a picture when it was snowing. This is my cousin, this is my brother, this is me, and this is my best buddy, Rhea. And it was snowing when I was outside playing in the playground.
And I asked her if he made the basket, and he said, yes, he did. All right, tomorrow night we'll have a young man here with a weather question about sunlight. Here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. 11 degrees for the overnight low. Cloudy skies, a few isolated snow flurries here and there, but nothing really exciting. But the warmer temperatures are really a good omen for us. 31 for the high tomorrow with continued cloudy skies, isolated snow showers. Then the clouds cut off and the warm temperatures start to return with a vengeance. 36 degrees on Friday, 40 on Saturday, 42 on Sunday, and 43 on Monday. We're really glad to see those warm temperatures. That means a lot of the snow melting And that means that definitely you don't want to get your car washed yet, that's for sure. Overnight lows will also be very warm, 20 degrees on Sunday night into Monday. I'm loving it. I know Joey's too.
Well,
You'll believe it when you see it. I know,
yeah.
I know, you've heard it before, right?
All right, well, don't forget the 2013 Summer Activity Fair will be April 21st at the Pioneer Park Civic Center, with the theme being a camp for every kid. Also tonight, it's time for Watch and Win with Woodard. It is a necklace tonight, Amazonite necklace.
Ooh.
So, yeah, make sure to go to webcenter11.com and enter for your chance to win that $350 gift certificate to Pristine's.
Amazonite. Interesting.
Yeah,
I've never heard that one before.
Yes, all right. Well, that will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we're glad you could join us.
And as always, you can check us out online at not News Center 11,
Webcenter 11. It should be News Center 11, you would think.
Why not? Yeah. That will do it from all of us here at the News Center. We hope to see you back here at 11. Until then, have a good evening.